Hi everyone, and welcome to Local Notes. This is a video and podcast series dedicated to local musicians and their craft. I'm Dave Wright, and the only thing I can play is the radio. But I do enjoy listening to great music, and with a few of my friends, I spend a lot of time traveling around to hear some of our best local music. This series has two real objectives. One is to give some of the great talent an opportunity to tell their side of the story. I'm talking about the kind of stuff we don't normally get to hear about. Secondly, I'm trying to bring some attention to an area that's really hurting right now. Where would we be without all these super talented people that keep us entertained? So let's not waste any more time and get to it. Hey everyone, welcome to Local Notes, episode 11. I had the really good fortune to make acquaintance with a guy by the name of Jeff Scheller. He's a bass player, wonderful guy. Really hit it off with him, and I really enjoyed my time. We kind of connected. It was cool. He actually has 5 different bands. He's been playing in the area a long time. He used to be a teacher, and when he retired, he invested in the bands full time. The 5 bands are the Millbillies, the Boom Rockets, Well Strung, Tiger Maple String Band, and Midnight Rooster. And these are all playing, the string type music, the roots music, I guess, is what we should call it. So we seem to have a lot in common. We both lost people very close to us way too early. And my heart goes out to him for that. Anyway, get out there, support local music. It's a quick interview. Jeff's a great guy. I can't wait to go out and have a beer with him. We did the interview back in September. I've been pretty busy. I just did some time in Nashville and saw a lot of great bands down there and a lot of friends. And anyway, I hope you enjoy Jeff and get out and see him. Take care. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 11 of Local Notes. We've got a special guest, Jeff Scheller. And Jeff, thanks for coming on and spending some time.
Thank you.
I know you're a busy guy. You've got a couple bands out there running around.
Yeah,
and,
I'm less busy than I used to be, as far as at least I don't have to teach all day and then play 100-something shows a year. But yeah, so this is nice.
Right. So you kind of made the dive, right? You decided to do this full time.
Yes, I did.
And do music full time. Was this a conscious decision, or did you actually just retire and decide, hey, maybe we'll do this? Or was this like the big jump in, let's do it kind of thing?
I always knew that I was going to. I love playing to a ridiculous level. And I knew that this would be my main career after I retired from teaching. So I did, I got 33 years in teaching. I loved it. I did 15 years with elementary kids and then 18 years with middle school. I taught middle school biology. And I always knew that I had another career to go into. I've learned how to make money at music. It's difficult. And I'm going to learn how to do it even better. So,
Well, let me ask you this. So it hasn't been long, right? This has been fairly recent, the last couple of years.
just a little over 1 year retired. Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of like jumped right into the middle of COVID when there wasn't a lot of people seeing bands and stuff, right?
Yeah, that was unfortunate, but I can't complain. It was unfortunate for all musicians, and
right.
And yeah, it wasn't ideal, but it allowed me to practice some other instruments, and it allowed me to organize my songs. So now I have all of my songs assigned to one of my different bands, and it did give me time to get direction to do some writing of songs and for my shows I'm producing and things. So yeah, I try to make the best of it. Yeah, just like everybody.
That was going to be my next question. Do you write much of your own songs? Do you like to write?
Yeah, I do. I think at this point I have about 150, which compared to Dolly Parton and some people I know, that's nothing. But my goal is over the next 10, 15, 20 years of my career, I'd like to do over half of all the songs I perform. I'd like them to be my own. And I think there's about 18 of them recorded so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I might even put together my first like solo thing. But I really love writing and expressing myself that way. And the nice thing about doing your own songs is nobody can tell you that you're doing it wrong, or they don't like the version you're doing, because it's mine.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Do you have a specific way of writing songs? Do you have to like be standing on your head with a pencil on green paper, or do you just sit down and can write, or are you doing something else and it kind of comes to you? How do you write?
Yeah, I need to be hiking. I need to be hiking or working in my yard. And one of the dangers is I love listening to podcasts and listening to music. And that I need to make sure. I've had to force myself to just be silent sometimes. And then, so what happens when I'm walking, then I use my phone, use the little recording feature on the phone, and I get a line or two of chorus in there, and I'll keep working on it. Sometimes I'll use the rhythm of my walking. And then that's where most of my songs start off. Every now and then you get lucky. It's one of those songs where the whole thing just comes out like a newborn elephant, just plopping out. And, the whole thing is written in 30, 40 minutes. Then most of the time for me, I just have the birth of a chorus, and then I'll revisit it later and work on fleshing it all out and changing it. And I think on my phone right now, there's probably 25 songs in the embryo phase, and so
waiting for the next level. Yeah,
you just keep working on it. And I have 150 fully written, but there's at least 50 in my folder of like parts of it written. And so I don't know. I don't claim to be good at it, but it makes you happy. It helps you. It's great psychologically. It helps you cope, figure out life, think about things, be less stressed. So.
Well, I'll tell you this, Jeff. Before we got on, I jumped on YouTube and I started going through your YouTube page, and you've got about 90 videos out there, and I think you got great taste in music, and I like the stuff that you're doing, and I like the work and the songs that you're doing. I don't know which ones you wrote and which ones you didn't, but I really enjoyed the songs. I really did. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So probably about a third of them are mine on there. But yeah, great. I love all forms of American music, and especially the rootsy Americana stuff. And yeah, and it's funny. I just recently started. I had a whole bunch of songs that I couldn't find a home for, and I just recently started a rockabilly band, and I realized, oh, those were rockabilly tunes. I wondered why I couldn't fit them into my bluegrass and country and swing bands, and so now almost all my songs have a musical home, and that's one reason I kind of I've wrestled with, like, okay, should I just, I'm friends with the Jacobs Ferry Stranglers, and they're so amazing. I love them, and I got to sub for them like 10 times. And like, part of me wants to be like that, where you reach higher levels and you do a little bit of touring. But then the other part of me wants to just try all the different styles of music and work on the original stuff, and also not travel when I don't want to travel. So it's, there's good and bad about each of these approaches, but my approach is more, what's nice is when people call me for a gig, it's kind of like almost a bait and switch, where I have something that will work for them. Right. So they may call thinking they want one band. If I can't get that band, if they're not available that day, well, maybe some other combination is, and it works, and they're happy with it. So,
wow, amazing.
So I like having options, and my favorite way to socialize is being with people on stage, and just watching. You play music, you're a huge music fan, obviously, and you're like me probably. When I go to watch bands, I want to be within 5, 10, 15 feet of them. I want to watch the sweat. I want to watch the mistakes and the times where they do something better than they thought they would. And I want to watch when they get mad at each other, and or like when the one guy passes gas and the other ones react to it, but they try to be cool about it. That's the whole playing live music. That is just that is, I don't skydive, so like that's my thrill.
Right.
I really just love it.
Right. That's amazing. That's a really cool way of putting it. And I feel the same way. I mean, I want to get up there. You learn so much about them by being close and seeing how they handle the mistakes, or seeing how they improvise on cool stuff, and it's a lot of fun. What you've got a pretty good circle of musicians around you with all those bands. Do you have rehearsals, or you've played a lot and most of you guys have played for 20 years and you can just show up and they're great musicians and they kind of know what they're doing?
Yeah, it depends on the band. Like, so, and when a band's new, then we're rehearsed. Like, so the Boom Rockets is my rockabilly band that I just had the first gig this past June. And so that band has had a decent number of rehearsals just because we needed to. We had to get a whole new repertoire up and running.
Right.
And then, some bands like Well Strung, my bluegrass band, we try to get a practice in every like 2, 3, 4 weeks. Sometimes we're better at than others, but and it all depends if the act is doing a whole lot of new music. Millbillies definitely is. A lot of my bands are really moving towards original music, and so those bands tend to practice more than other bands. And other guys I play with, they're just so good. And if we're playing from the great American songbook or bluegrass, the 200-300 great bluegrass songs that all the pickers really know, we can just show up and do it,
Right.
And it's always fun when an audience member goes, wow, you guys really sound like you're practiced and rehearsed. And we look at each other like, yeah, right. But yeah, so it just depends on the band and how much original music. So the original music really is a challenge because they can't just listen to it on the radio. We're creating it.
Right.
So and I need everybody's input because I have some strengths, but they're not. Some of the musicians I work with know a lot more about music theory than I do, and they're just so much better at arranging, especially harmonies and vocal layering. I can hear what I want, but I can't always express it or demonstrate it. So yeah, I'm really fortunate. I think I work with I think the 20 people I work with, I think are definitely they're in the top 30
Mhm.
of all the Americana musicians in the region. Like I work with really strong musicians,
Right.
and helps a lot. So
Right. Absolutely. Do you have a place that you really love to play, or are there a few places that you really are your favorites that you circle it every year?
yeah, obviously the music festivals,
Mhm.
Smoke Country Jam. We in the bluegrass world, we have a lot of indoor festivals like Butler Ice Jam and Meadville, and Oil City has one.
Mhm.
Clarion. Um, Love, but as far as where I play, a lot of the breweries, it's neat, and a lot of weddings.
Mhm.
Uh, I used to play in a rock and country band, and I do some weddings. And when I left playing rock and country in electric bands, I thought I wasn't going to be doing weddings anymore. But then these young hipsters, they all want to have their barn wedding, and so this kind of music's perfect for it. And I
Right.
DJ too, so that's kind of nice. Um, but yes, I love the breweries, and I love playing, um, the bigger clubs in the region, the Roxy and the Rex Theater. We all miss the Rex Theater. Hopefully, it'll
Yeah.
come back as something good. But yeah, um, it's fun. I love a great listening audience, but I also love a party audience. It's just I wouldn't want to have the same thing all the time.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I love, we do a lot of private shows and a lot of corporate shows, and that's kind of neat too, because then you're exposed to people that maybe they don't really know swing or bluegrass or hillbilly country or rockabilly, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, that's great music. They're hearing it live.
Right.
You know.
Right. You know, things are very diversified nowadays. When I was a kid, it seems like people kind of liked one kind of music. You either like country or you like rock. But nowadays, a lot of people kind of like everything. Music's
Yeah.
so accessible. As a kid, I grew up to bluegrass, going to see the
Oh,
Country
okay.
Gentlemen and the Seldom Scene and things like that. As a matter of fact, a guy that I work with is Grayland Adcock, who is Eddie
Oh, yeah.
Adcock's great nephew or something. And he showed me a letter from Martha a couple days ago. It was kind of neat. And
Oh, I've seen
telling me
Eddie
how
at.
to telling me how to store my guitar, to detune
Oh,
it before I put it away. It was kind of cute.
that's
But
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Did you ever go to the Mountaintop Bluegrass Festival that used to be in Tarentum?
no, I never have. I'm
It
actually
was.
not from Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of I'm from Northern Virginia, and there was a
Oh,
lot of
beautiful.
bluegrass down there, still is.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's great.
so I'm just kind of figuring out where it's all at in the last few years. So go
Yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, Rob.
No, that's where I saw Eddie Adcock, three.
Oh,
Yeah,
uh,
he's great.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I really
yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yep, one
I
of the
always remember
original.
he had his banjo, and then I think he had one of the two, either guitar or banjo, on a stand all the time. Maybe it was, and then he'd walk up and play the other one, then go back and forth. He was great. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, talented guy. But so I guess my question is, were you always a country roots guy, or growing up, did you kind of listen to the rock just like everybody else, or what are you? What were you?
Uh, so I always listened to my parents' albums, which was like Johnny Cash and doo-wop music and rockabilly. So
Right?
that definitely stuck with me. I do a lot of Johnny Cash. And so, yeah, but besides that, mostly AM radio, not a massive, I guess I was a big music fan, but I didn't have family members that played or anything.
Mhm.
Then I had two buddies that were learning guitar, two of my best friends, and they, just like so many people, help so many bass players start off this way, like, hey Jeff, why don't you play bass? I'm like, okay. And so I started playing. I loved it, and I just absolutely loved it, and was with those guys. We had a band for starting in 1985, band called Rhubarb, and just still great friends. That was a country rock group. Eventually moved more into like 90s rock, but it was country up most of the time. Played with them forever, and then just started getting into the bluegrass and the more acoustic stuff. And then I went from electric bass to upright bass. And once I started playing upright bass, that was it. I still play electric, but man, do I love the upright. It's just, it's physical. It's physical.
The sound is amazing, though. I mean, it fills a room.
I love tum tum tum. I just love it.
Awesome. So you did it all. I mean, like you said, you did a lot of rock, a lot of country, some bluegrass. You kind of did it all. You went full spectrum. What do you think is probably your top 2 songs on your iPad right now that you're listening to?
Oh boy, that's tough. Okay, well, songs that I'll listen to over and over again in the last few years is Billy String's "Tinfoil and Turmoil," or "Turmoil and Tinfoil," whichever one it is. But oh my goodness, that's 7 minutes of just beautiful arrangement, and just I love him. And then the other one would be Primus. I love Primus. Les Claypool, the strangeness of Primus, and for check it out. It's not for everybody because it's kind of a funky metal kind of thing. But do you know Les Claypool or Primus?
I thought I've heard of Les Claypool. I've not heard of Primus.
He's considered. Most people can put him in their like top 5 of all bass players. You always hear Geddy Lee and Jaco Pastorius and Stanley Clarke and Flea, but Les Claypool's amazing. So anyway, he has a song called "Greet the Sacred Cow." Just so funky and perfectly weird bass, Yeah.
Awesome.
My friends, when they get in my car, they laugh or they make fun because the bass is so turned up in my stereo that it bothers them, but like I need to hear the bass lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Very cool. Anyway, so real quick, we're kind of running out of time. I don't want to keep you too long, but tell us a little bit about that beautiful bass standing up behind you. If you would.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you want to move the camera, there you go.
Yeah, so I'm writing a show right now called The United Beats of America. I'm starting to get into producing shows. I produced the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou shows, which is just 4 bands: Jacob's Ferry Stragglers, Echo Valley, Millbillies, and Well Strung, doing the whole soundtrack. And I'm doing a show now called The United Beats of America. It's still in the writing process. I have a Broadway dancer that's going to do percussion and dress period time and do dances. So anyway, I'm really big into the history of American roots music, and I want to teach school assemblies and eventually theater shows, scale it up. But I want to show kids at first that the greatest export of the United States, besides arguably the Constitution, would be our music. The whole world is playing our music, and it all comes from that beautiful mixture of the African syncopated rhythm and the banjo from Africa with the song structure and instrumentation of Europe, and especially the Scotland and England and Ireland. And that allowed us to have the blues, and it's just the beautiful story of American immigration and unfortunately slavery, but it gave us just the most amazing music, and it all started with the blues. So it's kind of like a family tree of American music. And the strings are weed whacker strings because I love slapping those things. They're neat. Yes.
It's beautiful. Who did the work for you? Who painted? Did you do it?
No, I drew the concept up. I like artwork, but I'm not good enough to do that.
Right.
A car man named Chris Adams did the 3 tones of paint underneath. And then a tattoo artist in Butler, very talented guy named Ronnie Hicks.
Okay.
Ronnie Hicks did the painting on it, and then Chris Adams sealed it all up real nice. But it's a joy. It's makes me really. It's a great bass to play, But it just adds to the show. People are, they're interested in it, and it's memorable.
It's beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
It is. It's absolutely gorgeous. Never seen anything like it.
Yeah, yeah. That was my retirement gift to myself. So,
Well, before we go, I want to make sure everybody can find your music and where they can find you, and let us know, where are you at online? I'm sure you have a Facebook.
So on YouTube, you can go to Jeff Scheller, Scheller music. On Facebook, you can friend me, Jeff Scheller, Scheller. You can also go to the band Well Strung without a hyphen. There's a New York band with a hyphen. Okay. Well Strung's a bluegrass band. You can go to the Millbillies. It's a hillbilly country band, Americano. That's Millbillys. The Boom Rockets is on Facebook. That's Rockabilly. Midnight Rooster on Facebook. That's Swing Americana. It's really fun to play swing tunes. And then the Tiger Maple String Band. They're a great father and two daughters band. They're from, and a great banjo player, Barry Smith from Pittsburgh now. But they do old time fiddle music and a little bit of folk. So those are the 5 bands. And I also do, it's going to be the last Sunday of April. I hope, I had to cancel it the last 2 years, but I hope this year will be good. I do a all roots day at Jurgles called the Roots Rally. And it's in honor of my daughter, Riley, who unfortunately died at 11 from a brain tumor. That's what when kids have cancer, that's one of the things that they get. But we do a big benefit at Jurgles that day with like 7 roots bands, and I always try to bring in a couple touring groups. So yeah, and the Oh Brother show will be coming back again. No date yet, but it'll return, and in the next year or two, be looking for the United Beats of America show on history of American roots music. So that's what keeps me busy. Yeah.
Jeff, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And maybe in another year, let's touch base and do it again.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave. Yes. Yeah. Once I get that United Beats show down, we could even air part of it or something,
Sure.
But,
sure.
Yeah. Great.
Make
well,
sure
thank you so.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, just thank you so much, and thanks for being a big supporter of the Western Pennsylvania music scene. And yeah, that's really what it's all about. Is just there's so much great talent in our region, and it just people don't know till they see it. And so get out there and enjoy live music.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Thanks.